The bathroom door wasn't locked. That's what I keep telling myself. Like it makes what I saw less deliberate, less cruel. But there they were. Janet, my maid of honor, pressed against the marble countertop with David's hands tangled in her hair. My sister's husband. The man who calls Emma his everything at every family dinner, who posts anniversary photos with captions about true love and forever. The brass doorknob was cold under my palm. The music downstairs suddenly muffled like I was underwater. Janet's perfume, that expensive vanilla she always wore, mixed with the scent of wine and betrayal. They didn't see me. I closed the door as quietly as I'd opened it, the soft click barely audible over my thundering heartbeat. I walked back to my engagement party with a smile that felt like glass, and served champagne to people celebrating my upcoming marriage. The same marriage where Janet would stand beside me in lavender silk, promising to support my union while she destroyed my sister's. My name is Anna. I'm 32, and I've decided that some secrets are worth keeping until they're not. If you've ever carried a secret that could destroy someone, you know this feeling. I'm Susie, and this channel is for those of us who learned that silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Hit subscribe for more stories where revenge doesn't scream, it waits. And comment if you think silence was enough. 3 days after my engagement party, Emma calls while I'm getting ready for work. I keep having this weird feeling, she says without preamble, like something's wrong, but I can't put my finger on it. David was acting strange at your party. Distracted. I pause, mascara worn halfway to my lashes. Strange how? Just not himself. And he came home really late. Said he stayed to help clean up. But when I called to check on you, your mom said everyone had left hours earlier. The lie sits between us on the phone line. I could tell her now. 3 words. Janet was there. But Emma's not ready to hear it. Yet. Maybe he stopped somewhere else first. You know how men are with time. Maybe. But she doesn't sound convinced. 2 hours later, I'm sitting across from Emma at our usual coffee spot, watching her scroll through wedding photos on Pinterest. She's trying to look normal, but I can see the tension in her shoulders, the way she keeps checking her phone. She's glowing in that way married women do when they still believe in happily ever after. 28 years old, 2 kids, a house in the suburbs with David, the life she's always wanted. I think you should go with the Cascade bouquet, she says, zooming in on white roses. It's more dramatic. Remember how mine looked? I remember her wedding. I remember Janet catching the bouquet, laughing as she held it above her head like a trophy. I remember David's speech about finding his soulmate and how Emma cried happy tears. I remember thinking they were perfect together. Now I know better. Anna? Emma's voice pulls me back. You're quiet today. The weight of what I saw sits in my chest like a stone. 3 days of carrying this knowledge, of watching her text David throughout our lunch, of seeing her face light up when he responds. 3 days of wanting to reach across this table and shake her, to tell her that her perfect marriage is built on lies. Instead, I smile. Just wedding stress. You know how it is. But Emma doesn't know. She thinks marriage is safe harbor. She thinks trust is automatic. Love is permanent. Betrayal happens to other people. She thinks the worst thing about weddings is choosing between chicken and fish. She reaches over and squeezes my hand. David was just saying how lucky you are to have Janet as your maid of honor. She's so devoted to our family. The irony tastes like copper in my mouth. Devoted. That's one word for it. She's definitely involved. I manage. Emma laughs, missing the edge in my voice entirely. Sometimes I think she cares about our happiness more than we do. She's always checking in, making sure everything's okay between David and me. It's sweet, sweet. I watch my sister's face, so trusting, so unaware that her best friend's concern is guilt. Wearing a mask. That Janet's frequent check-ins aren't about care. They're about covering tracks. I make my first choice in that coffee shop. Not to tell her, not yet. Because Emma deserves better than learning about her husband's betrayal over lattes and Pinterest boards. She deserves to discover the truth on her own terms, in her own time. But more than that, she deserves to see exactly who Janet really is. I need to make some changes to the wedding party. I tell my mother over the phone, my voice steady as I draw a thick black line through Janet's name in my planner. The ink bleeds slightly into the expensive paper, a small violence that feels oddly satisfying. I pause before writing Sophie in careful letters above the scratched-out name. My pen hovers over the page as I consider what this small action really means. The first deliberate step away from the life Janet thought she could manipulate from the shadows. Changes? Anna honey, the invitations are already ordered. Not the guest list. The ceremony. I want Sophie as my maid of honor instead of Janet. There's a pause. Sophie is my cousin, reliable, honest, someone who's never stolen anything from anyone, let alone someone's husband. But Janet's been planning for months. She's already ordered her dress, organized the bachelorette party. She can still be a bridesmaid. I draw a careful line through Janet's name in my notebook, replacing it with Sophie's in neat handwriting. I just think Sophie would be better suited for the role. My mother sighs. You'll have to tell Janet yourself. She's not going to be happy. I'm counting on it. When I call Janet, her voice immediately shifts to that syrupy concern she's perfected. Anna, what's wrong? Your mom said you wanted to talk. I've decided to make Sophie my maid of honor. The silence stretches long enough for me to imagine her face changing, the mask slipping. When she speaks again, her voice is carefully controlled. Did I do something wrong? Not at all. I just feel like Sophie would be a better fit for what I have in mind. What you have in mind? There's an edge now, barely contained. Anna, I've been planning your bachelorette party for months. I've already put deposits down, made reservations. You can still plan it. As a bridesmaid, another pause. I can practically hear her calculating, trying to figure out if I know something or if this is just bridal neurosis. I thought I meant more to you than that. The words hang in the air between us. She's fishing, looking for reassurance, for some sign that her secret is still safe, that her position in our family and Emma's life, in mine, remains secure. You do mean something to me, Janet. That's exactly why I need you to understand this decision. I hang up before she can respond, before I can say what I really mean. You mean enough to me that I want you to feel exactly what Emma's going to feel when she finds out what you are. Emma's birthday dinner at David's favorite restaurant. The whole family is here, parents, aunts, uncles, cousins. Janet sits 3 seats down from me, her smile a little too bright, her laugh a little too loud. She's overcompensating, trying to prove that everything's normal between us. David gives Emma a tennis bracelet. For the most beautiful woman in my life, he says, kissing her cheek while the table applauds. Janet claps enthusiastically, her red lips curved in perfect approval, the same shade of red I saw smeared on David's mouth that night. I excuse myself to the bathroom and Janet follows a few minutes later, as I knew she would. She's been trying to get me alone all evening, probably to probe about the maid of honor situation. Anna, can we talk? She's touching up her lipstick in the mirror, that same crimson red. I feel like there's something wrong between us, and I can't figure out what I did. I watch her apply the color with practiced precision. Nothing's wrong, Janet. Why would you think that? The maid of honor thing, the way you've been distant lately. She caps the lipstick and turns to face me. If I did something to upset you, just tell me. We've been friends too long to let misunderstandings fester. Friends. The word sits between us like a challenge. You're right, I say finally. We have been friends for a long time. That's why I know you'd never do anything to hurt my family. Her face goes very still. Of course not. Emma's like a sister to me. She is. And David's like a brother to you. Exactly. But her voice is a half note too high, and she's gripping her purse so tightly her knuckles are white. I smile and head for the door, then pause. You might want to blot that lipstick. It's a little intense for family dinner. When I return to the table, Janet's lipstick is gone. Her mouth is pale, uncertain. She keeps touching her lips throughout the rest of dinner, like she's checking to make sure nothing incriminating remains. Emma, radiant in her birthday glow, doesn't notice, but David does. I catch him watching Janet, a question in his eyes that she won't meet. Good. Let them both wonder what I know. 2 weeks before my wedding, Janet's text arrives at PM. Can we please talk? I feel like you hate me and I don't understand why. I stare at the message for a long time before responding. I don't hate you, Janet. I'm just busy with wedding planning. This is about more than wedding planning. Please, Anna. Our friendship means everything to me. Our friendship. I think about all the times she's sat at my kitchen table, listened to me complain about work, celebrated my promotions and milestones. I think about high school secrets and college heartbreaks, about being each other's emergency contacts and closest confidants. Then I think about her mouth on David's, her hands in his hair, her complete disregard for Emma's happiness. Meet me for coffee tomorrow. I type back. We'll talk. The next morning, Janet arrives 15 minutes early. She's chosen a corner table, away from other customers, somewhere we can have privacy for whatever confession or confrontation she's preparing. 4. She starts talking the moment I sit down. Anna, I need you to know that I would never, ever do anything to hurt you or Emma. You're both so important to me, and if I've done something, Janet, I cut her off gently. Why do you think you've done something wrong? The question catches her off guard. She blinks, recalibrates. Because you've been treating me differently. The maid of honor thing, the distance, the way you look at me sometimes. How do I look at you? Like you know something. There it is. The admission she doesn't realize she's making. I take a sip of my coffee, let the silence stretch. Janet fills it, as I knew she would. I just want things to be okay between us. Emma's already dealing with so much stress at home. David's been working late constantly. They've been fighting more often. I hate that she's unhappy, and I'd hate for our problems to add to her burden. Working late, fighting. I file this information away. Pieces of a puzzle I'm not ready to solve yet. The foundation is already cracking. I just need to let gravity do its work. Emma's fighting with David? Janet's eyes widen slightly, realizing she's said too much. Just normal marriage stuff. You know how it is. But I don't know how it is. I don't know what it's like to discover your husband is cheating, to feel your foundation cracking beneath your feet while everyone around you pretends everything is fine. Emma doesn't know yet, but she's starting to feel it. I'm sure they'll work it out, I say. Emma's stronger than she looks. She is. Janet's voice is soft, almost sad. She deserves better than. She stops, catches herself. Better than what? Nothing. I just want her to be happy. I lean back in my chair, studying her face. You know what, Janet? I think you're right. Emma does deserve better. And I think she's going to figure that out soon enough. Emma calls me, crying at a M, 3 days before my wedding. Anna, I'm sorry to wake you, but I didn't know who else to call. I sit up in bed, immediately alert. What happened? I found something. Her voice is thick with tears. In David's car, a single pearl earring with a thin gold chain, lodged beneath the passenger seat, half hidden by a gas station receipt. My breath catches. Not Janet's usual style, but close enough. The universe has its own sense of timing. Are you sure it's not yours? Maybe something old that fell. I'd never wear something this flashy. He knows I hate pearls. She's crying. Harder now. It's expensive. Tiffany. The kind of thing David would buy for someone he's. She can't say it. After 6 years of marriage, she still can't name what she's discovered. I could tell her now. I almost do. But she's already on the edge and I need her to step off it on her own. Emma, where are you? In my car outside the house. I can't go back in there. I can't look at him. Come to my apartment. We'll figure this out. She arrives 20 minutes later, still in her pajamas with a coat thrown over them. Her face is red and swollen, her hands shaking as I pour her tea she won't drink. I keep thinking about all the late nights, all the business trips that seemed to multiply this year, all the times Janet would call to check on me when David was working. She looks up at me with eyes that are starting to understand. She always seemed to know when he wouldn't be home. I don't say anything. I don't need to. You know, don't you? Emma's voice is very quiet. You've known. I meet her eyes across my kitchen table. I saw them at my engagement party. The confession hangs between us. Emma's face goes through a series of changes: shock, hurt, anger, and finally, a strange kind of relief. Why didn't you tell me? Because you needed to see it for yourself. You needed to choose what to do with the truth instead of having it forced on you. She nods slowly. How long do you think? I don't know. Does it matter? No. She wipes her face with the back of her hand. I guess it doesn't. We sit in silence for a long time. Outside, the city is quiet, holding its breath for dawn. Your wedding's in 3 days, Emma says eventually. I know. Janet's still your bridesmaid. She is. Emma looks at me with something that might be admiration. You're going to let her stand up there, knowing what she's done. I'm going to let her stand up there knowing that you know what she's done. For the first time all night, Emma almost smiles. That's going to be uncomfortable for her. I'm counting on it. Janet arrives at the bridal suite 2 hours before the ceremony. Her bridesmaid dress perfect, her smile practiced. She doesn't know that Emma spent last night at my apartment, that papers were served to David this morning, that her world is about to shift in ways she can't imagine. You look beautiful, Anna, she says, adjusting my veil with careful hands that shake almost imperceptibly. This is going to be the perfect day. Emma walks in as Janet speaks, elegant in her matron of honor dress, her face serene in a way that makes Janet freeze mid-sentence. "Hi, Janet," Emma says calmly. "You look lovely." The temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. Janet's hands still on my veil, her eyes darting between Emma's face and mine, searching for some clue about what's happening. During the ceremony, as I'm saying my vows, I feel Emma's hand briefly touch mine as she adjusts my bouquet. She squeezes once so subtle that only I notice, then steps back. It's acknowledgement, gratitude, and solidarity all in one small gesture. Janet stands to my left, shifting her weight from foot to foot, her usual confidence replaced by visible unease as she catches Emma's steady gaze from the front row. "Emma, how are you feeling? You seem different," Emma supplies. "I am different. It's amazing what a good night's sleep can do for clarity." My photographer captures the moment, 3 women in a bridal suite, 2 of them understanding each other perfectly while the third realizes she's been left behind. The ceremony is flawless. My husband's vows are beautiful. The flowers are perfect. The music hits every emotional note. Janet stands to my left, her smile never wavering even as Emma's eyes bore into her from the front row. During the reception, I watched Janet try to approach Emma twice. Both times, Emma turns away with polite indifference, engaging other guests in conversation that doesn't include her former best friend. "David isn't here. According to the family, he came down with food poisoning this morning." According to Emma, he came down with divorce papers. Beautiful ceremony, Mrs. Peterson from down the street tells me during dinner. Though I noticed Emma seemed a bit distant with Janet. "I hope everything's all right between them." "Everything's exactly as it should be," I reply. Later, as I'm changing out of my wedding dress, Janet knocks on the bridal suite door. "Anna, can I come in?" She looks smaller somehow, uncertainty replacing her usual confidence. Emma won't talk to me. She's been avoiding me all day, and I don't understand why. Did something happen? I hang my dress carefully in its preservation bag before answering. "You'd have to ask Emma that. I'm asking you, and I'm telling you to ask Emma." Janet's composure finally cracks. "Please, Anna, I know you know something. I've known it for weeks. Whatever you think I did, I don't think anything, Janet. I know exactly what you did. The question is whether you're brave enough to own it." She stares at me, and I see the moment she realizes that her secret isn't secret anymore, that her carefully maintained position in our family has crumbled while she wasn't paying attention. "It wasn't. It didn't mean. It meant everything." I cut her off. "It meant you chose yourself over my sister. It meant you decided your wants mattered more than her marriage, her happiness, her trust. It meant you looked at someone who loved you like family and decided she was acceptable collateral damage." Janet's eyes fill with tears. "I never wanted to hurt Emma, but you did. Every day you didn't tell her. Every time you sat at her table and smiled at her face. Every time you asked how her marriage was going, you hurt her. What happens now?" I zip up my overnight bag, ready to leave for my honeymoon. "Now you live with the consequences of your choices." Emma gets to decide what forgiveness looks like, if it looks like anything at all. "And you get to learn what it feels like to be the one left out." I pause at the door. "By the way, Janet, Emma's stronger than either of us gave her credit for. She's going to be just fine." I received Janet's wedding invitation in March. Expensive cardstock with gold embossing and a handwritten note tucked inside. "I hope you can be there for me like I was there for you. Remember when we were like sisters? Your friendship has always meant everything to me." The manipulation is so transparent, it's almost insulting. I delete the text message that comes with it without reading past the first line. "Anna, I know things have been." Instead of responding, I find a photo from my own wedding day. The moment during the ceremony where Emma and I are standing close together while Janet looks on from the periphery, isolated and uncertain. I send it to Janet without commentary. She doesn't text back. I RSVP no without explanation. Emma calls me that same afternoon. "Did you get Janet's invitation?" "I did." "Are you going?" "No, are you?" Emma laughs, and it's the first time I've heard her laugh like that. Free, unburdened since before I knew what I knew. I wouldn't miss it for the world. I want to see who she's convinced to trust her now. We're quiet for a moment, both of us thinking about the same thing. How completely Janet has disappeared from our lives. How seamlessly we've closed ranks around her absence. "Do you ever regret it?" Emma asks, not telling me right away. I consider the question. "Do you regret learning the truth?" "Never." "Then no, I don't regret it." Because here's what I learned in those months of carrying that secret. Silence isn't always complicity. Sometimes it's strategy. Sometimes it's giving someone the gift of discovering their own strength, their own worth, their own power to choose. Emma chose herself. She chose her children's stability over her comfort with the familiar. She chose truth over the beautiful lie she'd been living. And Janet? Janet chose herself too, in the end. She just didn't realize that choosing yourself at someone else's expense comes with a price. I stayed quiet. They noticed. Eventually, Emma noticed that her husband worked late every night. Janet volunteered to babysit. She noticed that her best friend's concern felt more like surveillance than care. She noticed that her marriage felt hollow in all the places it used to feel solid. And when she finally looked closely at her life, she saw everything clearly. I didn't ruin Janet's reputation or David's marriage. I just made space for the truth to breathe. I gave Emma room to see what was already there, waiting to be acknowledged. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. Sometimes staying quiet is the loudest statement you can make. I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped pretending, and the truth did the rest.